All right, well, how's it going, everybody? I hope you are well. My name is Pete Conan, and thanks for stopping by. What I want to do in this video is actually share some encouragement with you. I think we've learned some things about the coronavirus, and I think the coronavirus has taught us some things about ourselves. And so in this video, I'm actually not talking very much about the coronavirus itself, and I hope that's an encouragement to you, because I hope that a little bit of a reprieve is nice from that. But if you are looking for information, I want to be very clear right off the bat that we are talking about what we've learned from this moment in history, what we've learned about ourselves, what we've learned about our communities, what we've learned about kind of society at large. And so that's what we're weighing into today. It's heavy, it weighs heavy on me, but there are a few things that have come into my life, a few things that I've read, a few things that people have shared with me, or just things that I've been thinking about that I felt gave me some much needed perspective. And so I want to share those with you right now, because I think we need that perspective. I think if we can sit back and learn from what is going on right now, we will be better prepared, not only mentally, but emotionally and spiritually, to meet the challenges that lie ahead of us in the weeks and months and years to come. And so one thing that was shared with me was from the writings of C.S. Lewis. And C.S. Lewis is a Christian theologian. He was writing during the World War II era and the time of the atomic bomb. Now, Gospel Coalition website, they shared this quote. A few other people have shared this quote. I want to share it with you as well, because I think it's just so poignant for our moment in history. You can take his ideas about atomic bomb and basically replace them with virus, and you have sort of our setting right now. Now, this quote is pretty blunt. It cuts to the core, and at least for me, I needed that. I needed to kind of have a moment of sobriety, if you will, and I think C.S. Lewis helps us have that and then gain some of that much needed perspective as we move forward. So here's C.S. Lewis writing about the age of the atomic bomb. He says, in one way, we think a great deal too much of the atomic bomb. How are we to live in an atomic age? I'm tempted to reply, why, as you would have lived in the 16th century, when the plague visited London almost every year, or as you would have lived in the Viking age, when raiders from Scandinavia might have landed and cut your throat in the night, or indeed, as you are already living, in an age of cancer, in an age of syphilis, in an age of paralysis, in an age of air raids, in an age of railway accidents, in an age of motor accidents. In other words, do not let us begin by exaggerating the novelty of our situation. Believe me, dear sir or madam, you and all who you love were already sentenced to death before the atomic bomb was ever invented. And a quite high percentage of us were going to die in unpleasant ways. We had indeed one very great advantage over our ancestors, anesthetics, but we have that still. It's perfectly ridiculous to go about whimpering and drawing long faces because the scientists have added one more chance of painful and premature death to a world which already bristles with such chances, and in which death itself is not a chance at all, but a certainty. This is the first point to be made, and the first action to be taken is to pull ourselves together. If we're all going to be destroyed by an atomic bomb, let that bomb, when it comes, find us doing sensible and human things. Praying, working, teaching, reading, listening to music, bathing the children, playing tennis, chatting with our friends over a pint and a game of darts. Not huddled together like frightened sheep thinking about bombs. They may break our bodies, but even a microbe can do that. But they need not dominate our minds. And that is kind of sobering thoughts from C.S. Lewis. We could let it just sink in for a second. And I've been thinking of this quote for a while now, and what it means for us, what it means for me. And one of the things that I take away from that is, I know we all realize this, but maybe right now, the power of this little unassuming device is being felt, right? Our minds are being dominated by post after post and news flash after news flash, and so much is coming into our minds largely unfiltered because it comes to us from our phone, which we dearly love and trust, right? We think it has our best interests at heart somehow. But this device doesn't care about us at all. And so we need to be sensitive to the information that's coming at us. We need to be wise consumers of the information that is coming at us. And we need to be wise about what we post and repost. And in fact, this is the third time I've recorded this video because I just keep thinking I keep trying to be sensitive and discerning as to whether or not I should speak into this moment. I really don't want to be just another voice out there in a sea of voices. I really don't want to add to the noise. And so I'm going to wait. I'm going to sit on this for a while. I'm going to think about this before I post it. And I hope that we can all kind of learn that. You know, this whole thing is dominating our minds so much that instead of living deliberately, we're just living reactionary, right? We're just reacting to what we see or what we hear, but we're not really consciously and thoughtfully taking steps to live our lives. And that's what I kind of needed to hear, right? So let's take a moment and just sit back and think about that. How in this moment can I live deliberately and consciously, all the while loving my neighbors and loving my family and all of that? And I think when we do that, like I said, we'll be better prepared to meet the challenges that face us. The other thing is, we are all mortal. We are all soft-bodied and vulnerable human beings, and none of us will live forever. This experiment we call life, none of us get out of it alive, right? We all have a time and a moment, right? And I think we've lost a little bit of that perspective. We kind of go about our lives thinking we'll all live to be 90 and we're basically going to live with a lot of comfort. But that's not really the case. That's not guaranteed to us. That's not owed to us at all. We're not guaranteed tomorrow, right? But when we lose that awareness of our mortality, we lose something else. And I think what we lose is that sense that every moment matters. Every person we interact with matters. Every step I take matters. Every word that I speak to somebody matters. When I go to work, whether I'm fixing cars or working in a restaurant or in a doctor's office or teaching or homeschooling and raising children, like, the things that I do matter because my life is temporary. And because the people around me are temporary. And so one last little thought that I had actually comes from the life of St. Francis of Assisi. And I've been thinking of this as well, and it's been an encouragement for me, and I hope it is for you as well. As the story goes, and I'm not sure how much legend it is by now, but St. Francis was out and he was working in his garden. And St. Francis, he was a Catholic monk, and one of his students comes to him and says, you know, Francis, if you knew today was your last day on earth, what would you do? What would you be doing? And he kind of looks at his student and looks at his garden, and he says, I would finish tending to my garden. And I think he said that because St. Francis had a realization that he was put on this planet for a reason, that God had a purpose for his life, and that something as simple as tending to his garden had meaning. And so I hope that is encouraging for you, that every moment of your life matters, that none of us are guaranteed to live forever, and that's just part of the human condition. and that as we go from here, we can rest in that, that we don't have to have our minds dominated by this device. We don't have to have our minds dominated by what's going on in the news. We certainly want to take every precaution that we can, and but we don't have to live in such a way that we're not living anymore. So let's go live. Let's live that life. I'm gonna go play Legos with my kids, right? I'm gonna go talk to my wife. I'm gonna go read a book, and but I'm gonna do that deliberately, right? And thanks for coming and hanging out with me. If you're interested in all this stuff and you happen to have a few extra minutes lying around because you're hanging out, check out a few of the other videos that I've made from this channel. It's all pretty new, but some of it's fun, a lot of it's fun, and you can check those things out. Thanks for stopping by. I look forward to catching you again sometime soon. So that's going to do it for me. I'm going to go find my kids.